I'm just assuming you're being patient because Stephanie said y'all are great. So we are having a little technical difficulty with Lauren. Sometimes she can't hear what we are saying. And so there she is, like going, huh? So what I'd kind of like Stephanie to do behind the scenes, and I'm popping this on her, is to type in, because I'm going to be talking and introducing myself, but I'm not going to type it into the chat while I do it. So maybe you could give some highlights as I go on, because I think that Lauren is not being able to read my lips. So, and then we're going to bring Lauren on, and she's going to hold forth, and she'll be talking, even though she can't hear, but she'll be explaining a little bit about who she is. And she's joining us from Bristol, England. So it's really late at night. She ran home to get on the Zoom call. So I think it's like a 5-hour difference. So she's 5 hours ahead of us. Let's try to make it worth your while. I'm Allan. We are going to, then I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to have a little conversation with Lauren, and I might have to type it in as I actually ask the questions. So never a dull moment here at Malaprops. I am Allan Wolf. I am an author, and I've written some novels like Zane's Trace, a novel like Who Killed Christopher Goodman, a young adult novel called The Watch That Ends the Night, all about the Titanic. The Newfoundland is all about Lewis and Clark and their adventures to the Pacific. I've written this novel called The Snow Fell 3 Graves Deep, Voices from the Donner Party. You can see where that one's going. I'm also the writer of collections of poetry like this one called The Blood-Hungry Spleen and other poems about our park. Every time I say spleen, I need for you to gasp in horror. Spleen, 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 spleen. You may not be able to hear them, but we are in front of a live studio audience here in my living room. Here we are. I'm also the author of collections of poetry. This one is about a school garden. It's called Behold Our Magical Garden, based on a garden that's just right around the corner from me, the Lucy Herring Peace Garden. Also picture books like this one called Nobody Like a Book. I'm going to end my little segue with this one. It's called The Day the Universe Exploded My Head, poems about space. And the reason I want to talk about this one is because the book that we're here to really talk about, which is The Blanket Where Violet Sits, was actually a poem that was supposed to be in this collection. And it was too long and it was cut out. And so it ended up in its own book called The Blanket Where Violet Sits. Let's have a hand for the blanket where Violet sits. And that's, Lauren's holding up the one that looks, it looks like it actually looks like it's speaking in an English accent there. So that's it. That's me. I also perform poetry, and I travel around the country putting on poetry shows and entertaining people. And now I'm going to give the floor over to Lauren to tell us a little bit about herself. So let's have a hand for Lauren. Lauren Tobia.
Hi. I can't actually hear anything that anyone's saying. I keep saying, so, so I'm going to make it up as I go along. My name's Lauren Tobia. I'm the illustrator for The Blanket Where Violet Sits. Yay! And it was such a lovely story to illustrate, although I thought it would be easier than it was. I was like, how do I get the space from A Million Dimensions and, and Jen then just next door? But yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. I've done a few other books, so I'll just show you those. And then we can go back to Violet. There we go. That's one of the first things I did, which is called Anna Hibiscus. and that's by a writer called Atinuke, and it's a whole series of an amazing storyteller who just, yeah, it's just really, really good. It's all about a little girl who lives in Africa, amazing Africa. And yeah, I think there's about seven of them. I did Happy in Your Skin, which is all about being happy in your skin, really. It sort of says what it says on the tin, really. And this is the one that I've just written myself. I love the way I say written because it's wordless. So it's my sort of book. I haven't got any words. It did have words at the beginning, but they sort of fluttered away later on. Anyway, so that's Oscar's Tower of Flowers, and it's about a little boy who goes to stay with his nana and is a bit lonely. So yeah. So I can't hear anyone's. Yeah, hooray for wordless picture books. They're amazing things because it means that you tell the story your own way, and you can add, or you can just tell your story using the pictures, and it sort of creates a conversation for people. Just anyway, I'm not making much sense because I'm very confused by the fact I'm completely deaf. So anyway, yeah, I've been illustrating for about 15 years. I was quite old when I went to university, and then yeah, I've been doing it quite a long time now. So I don't know what to say now. I'm all flummoxed because I can't hear anything. So I'll pass you over.
Well, let's have a hand for Lauren Tobia. I hope you can hear all the love that's coming towards you. I wish you could. I wish I could type it in. Oh, there we go. That's our universal sign. One of the, I just pulled this book off of my shelf myself. Baby's Got the Blues, which is also a Lauren Tobia title that I just happen to have on my shelf. So I have this thing here, right there. But let's read our book, shall we? Everyone want to hear it? All right.
Over to you. I think okay. I daren't try and read a page by page.
We were.
I'll show you the pictures as we do it.
You can cue the pictures. Yeah, let's do that. You cue the pictures. You hold the pictures.
Okay.
Up, and I'll read them. How about that? Let's do that. We have this elaborate thing planned. So let's start with the cover. Start with the cover. All right, and hold it way up there. So it's the blanket where Violet sits. It starts off with, something's going to happen, because that little girl is going to take a good gander at that big old orb in the corner. And I haven't really told Lauren this, but I appreciate that when she illustrated this book, she actually included the Newbery medal in it already. So it's all right there. And if she could hear me, she would be laughing really loud. My studio audience is laughing. Okay. So you also notice in the background, even before you open the book, that this child is not alone. This child is being protected and looked over by two very important people. And so let's turn the page, and we see a rocket, a single little rocket. And so Lauren Tobia is smart, and that rocket is going to show up again. Then we get to the title page, and the title page simply says the title. That's why we call it the title page. And if you look at who it is dedicated to, you can see that I made my dedication to Glennis Redmond. Can we get a witness for Glennis Redmond? and Lauren has dedicated hers to Mark Sparing. And I dedicate this to Glennis Redmond because she knows where she is on the planet and in the universe. And that's what this is all about. So go ahead and turn the page. And we get to the very first page. Everybody gasp in wonder. Yes, there you go. So we open up with the family on the blanket and they're eating. And here's how it goes. This is the blanket where Violet sits, eating a sandwich, an apple, and chips. And then we turn the page. And I love this spread, what Lauren has done with this. This is the park in the bustling city, home to the blanket where Violet sits, eating the sandwich, an apple, and chips. And you can see all the things that are happening there in the buildings. There's a bakery down there, and you can see that there's conversations going on. And you can also see that Violet and her parents are in the park having a little picnic. So they're always there. They're always in the illustrations somewhere. And then we'll turn the page. Beep.
Beep. I heard that bit.
I love this is where we all gasp and wonder one more time. This is the planet with a moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city, home to the blanket where Violet sits, eating a sandwich, an apple. And if you're at home, you can finish it with me. And chips. You got it. So Lauren, hold it up so they can see that arrow. There's an arrow there where you can see. Yeah. I'm pointing to my own screen, which doesn't help you.
Oh no, it's down there. Hang on.
There it is. There it is. So there's the arrow. You can always see them in their West Coast city, which is a question I want to ask her a little bit later, why they're on the West Coast. Ah! She's the god. Oh, that's beautiful.
They're in Portland.
They're in Portland.
In my head.
All right. That was my question. Where the heck are they? They're in Portland.
Yeah, I've been to Portland and it was great. So I thought I'd put them in Portland.
All right, well, turn the page and let's go on.
I can't hear again. Sorry.
We're on this page now. There you go. Yeah, we got to see that one again. Okay, this is the yellow star orbited round. And look, there's only one sentence, but she gives a whole double page spread to that because that's the sun orbited round. And we turn the page. This is the yellow star orbited round by the small blue planet with moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city, home to the blanket where Violet sits, eating a sandwich, an apple, and chips. And there they are. Even these dark pages are so beautiful in real life. They really pop out. But I love how that just like, they are the center of the universe. That little girl is the center of their universe. And as I read through this, I want you to keep thinking about, well, what's the center of your universe? What are the things that are so important to you that they're the center of everything that you are? We turn the page and we're expanding outward. This is the solar system whose 8 planets surround the warm yellow star that is orbited round. Look, they're all there. And I love that Jupiter's moons are right there with it too. Well done, Lauren. Very authentic. Very authentic. Very realistic. Historically accurate. planetarily accurate. Yep, the Jovian moons. That means the Jovian means that they have a good sense of humor.
Exactly, they're jovial.
They're jovial. Oh, I love you, Lauren. So we're moving on. So this is the solar system whose 8 planets surround the warm yellow star that is orbited round by the tiny blue planet with a moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city. Again, outward, but you can see them in the center, still part of the picture. And we'll turn the page. I love the center of the, you can see the outline of our, there we go. And this is my favorite spread in the whole book. Home to the blanket where Violet sits. Let's do this one together. Eating a sandwich, an apple, and chips. My favorite picture in the whole book, Lauren. That's my favorite one. And we turn in the page. And now we're going outward. This is the galaxy spiraling white. And here on this spot, if you look just right, is the solar system whose 8 planets surround. You can all see it, can't you? And we'll go ahead and turn the page there, Lauren. Whose 8 planets surround. We're expanding outward. Moving on. The warm yellow star that is orbited round by the tiny blue planet with the moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city. Home to the blanket where Violet sits, eating a sandwich and apple and chips. And I love that. You can see she's holding on to the rocket in her hand. And we'll turn the page. Beep, beep. Here's along and look, check it out. And that, of course, is your cluster of galaxies. Here are 2,000 galaxies clustered in clouds, home to one galaxy spiraling white, where on this spot, if you look just right, is the solar system, whose 8 planets surround the warm yellow star that is orbited round by the tiny blue planet with a moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city. Home to the blanket where Violet sits, eating a sandwich and apple and chips. You got it. So that's the local group for those of you who are in the know. That's what our galaxy is like. It's hanging out with a bunch of other galaxies in the local group. But we're going to expand even further when we turn the page. And here it is. Here's the known galaxy, past comprehension. Billions of light years in every direction and billions of galaxies out in the black. There might be a Violet out there looking back at our own little galaxy spiraling white. We're on this spot. If you look just right, and you got to see real close in this rocket, it looks like there's another Violet out there looking back at us. So are we the center of the universe, or are we the center of someone else's universe? Who knows? So we turn the page. Beep. It's our own, that's it, is our own solar system where 8 planets surround a warm yellow star that is orbited round. And we turn the page. Beep. So we're coming back home by a jewel blue planet. That's it. Lauren, you're doing great. By a jewel blue planet with a moon so pretty that shines on the park in the bustling city. And here's the last page. Beep. Home to the blanket where Violet sits, done with her sandwich, her and chips. And that's the end. And I love, we'll put this dual picture up. That is the center of the universe. Anybody who is that well loved is the center of the universe. And I want you to check out the love between this family right here. And to me, that is really the center of the known universe. No matter what we think our problems are, or what things we're having to do, what things we're not successful at, or how we feel like outsiders, as long as we are loved and as long as we love somebody, we are the center of the universe. And I hope that Lauren could hear that. I wish she could. I hope somebody's typing it in for her. But so let's have a hand for the book. And I'm hoping, Stephanie, that you can help me do some typing here. Because first of all, I want to talk about, I just want to say that I learned something. It's called the overview effect. The overview effect. I'll type it in there. It's called the overview effect. And that's when you have been able to leave the earth and actually look back upon it as one thing. And it's nothing we could have done until 1968, which is when we started to look back at the earth, and we actually got a photograph of the earth all by itself, completely by itself in space. And the overview effect is the idea that once we can see the planet as one thing floating in space, we will understand how fragile it is, and we'll understand how special it is. And we'll also understand how enormous the known galaxy is, not the galaxy, but the known universe is. And to me, that's what I was trying to get across in this book. And what I'd like to ask, first of all, I'd like to ask Lauren, when she got the manuscript, did she immediately know what to do with it? Or did the designers already have an idea for her? Because I'll let the people at home know, this book went through a whole nother illustrator first, and it didn't work out. Lauren came in and saved the day and made it the book that it is. And so it's taken an extra long time for it to come out. And so my question to Lauren is, what concepts did Candlewick Press and their many brilliant designers actually approach you with? And what things you just did on your own?
I don't know if you finished talking, because I'm just butting in because I'm just reading something on the side. So something about the concept of having an idea for the pictures. It took me quite a long time, and I made a concertina book in order to, and I got a feeling, hang on.
Lauren's office looks like my office. I feel vindicated.
The concertina book isn't here because it will take me more than 5 minutes, and it'll be weird because I'll just disappear into a box for 20 minutes and you'll all get bored. So this is the roughs that I did, and they sent me the words And then I just did that. And I did that a lot because there's a lot of things to fit in. Some were really quite simple because it was so obvious you wanted that. We needed that sort of that original photograph done in the 60s of the blue planet. That was the space, the Apollo 13, I think, took the photograph when they were looking back as they went towards the moon. And he's, I think Neil Armstrong or something said he could put his thumb over it and then it was gone, and how fragile the world is. And it was just a lovely picture. So I did see something, but this is, that's the sort of level of fanciness. I just sort of scribble all over it. Anyway, I won't keep going, but anyway, that's how my original concept worked.
Awesome.
Oh, was it Apollo 8? Wow.
I have a personal question. I'm going to type it in, and I'm going to type it into the whole thing. One of your bios, your bio says you live in a tiny house. Is it a tiny house?
No. See, that was a problem.
Is it just a
small house?
Can you
it's not like
that?
a tiny house like I've got wheels and I can move around the streets.
Right.
That's not how it works. I've just got a little terraced house. And when the publishers asked me to write a little bit of blurb, I went, I live in a tiny house in Bristol. And that sort of stuck. And now everyone thinks I live on wheels. But no, I live in a little terraced house, a Victorian terraced house in the middle of town. Yeah. And I used to have 2 dogs, but I don't anymore. I've got a fur cat. She was trying to come in and join the Zoom meeting, but she's been banished.
Oh, well, we have 3 dogs here in the room with us right now. Can I hear the dog?
Behaved.
Yeah, right over. And you have Jack Russell Terriers, is that right?
Not anymore. I'm afraid I haven't got Jack Russells anymore. Oh. They got very, very, very old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. They're not with me anymore. But I've got a cat now. He was almost as much trouble.
Can you hold up your globe one more time so that everybody can look at it? I just love that. That is the coolest thing ever. And so that's over Portland, Washington, right? Very good.
I've made the Arctic a little bit bigger than it is now, but never mind. The Antarctic's right. And actually, Paul, my husband, was saying that my Pacific Ocean is too small. But I went, look, I'm an illustrator. I'm doing it my way. It's an artistic impression. Oh, and I got the moon.
Oh, nice. Nice.
With the moon so pretty.
Yep. That's beautifully done. And it is to scale as well. It's to scale, because the moon is about 1/4 the diameter of the Earth. So that works out really well.
Yeah, I just thought I'd do that until it was the right scale.
That's perfect. Stop. So the moon is 250,000 miles from the Earth.
Sorry.
I'm telling everybody in the audience that I think right now, it's probably makes sense if Stephanie can help us go to the questions. And if anybody has any questions in the in the chat. So, you know, and while I'll say the moon is the moon's 250,000 miles away.
Shall I answer the question that's come up?
Yes.
Okay.
What does Lauren like about Portland?
I really like the donuts. It's just such a vibrant city. It's very much like, they call it like, it's very much like Bristol. So there's a beautiful big piece of artwork on the wall that says something like Portland, stay crazy, or something like, oh, stay weird or something. And that's basically Bedminster, that's basically Bristol. We've got street art everywhere, and we're well known for being a bit crazy. So and it's got a flower garden, oh my goodness, and a Japanese garden that's to die for. The gardens are wonderful, and I love, sorry, I'm going to go on because I'm an absolute fan of Portland. I love the fact that when you go out of the houses, I think it's the sort of northwest side of Portland, they garden the verges. So there's like a bit of pavement, and then you've got a bit of hedge, a sort of ground, and then you've got the road. And we would never do this in England, but there's flowers and people have planted it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. It just seemed like keep Asheville weird. So it was keep Portland weird, I think, in the end. And also I watched Portlandia and fell in love. I mean, you know, who doesn't want to put a bird on it? So yeah.
Beautiful. Are the chips American chips or British chips?
Well, I've done American chips because I felt it was necessary. If it had been mine, they'd been salt and vinegar and ketchup on them.
I'm going to ask her, did you have to Americanize anything else? Did you have to Americanize anything else?
Did I Americanize anything else? Well, I put them in Portland because I thought I can't put them in England because this is an American book, basically, and people would feel very left out. And the buildings, there was a bit more brownstone, a bit more. I've worked a lot with Candlewick, the publishers in the US, and so I'm sort of used to making it a little bit less English, I suppose. And so that's the bottom of the Portland sign there. Things like that.
I did not know that. I didn't know that that was the bottom of the Portland sign. That's news to me. Somebody's asking, how did the two of you connect?
Oh, I think you can take that one.
Okay. So everybody always asks a couple, how did you meet? And we were actually, it was a blind date. It was a blind date. And and Lauren just burped over the internet.
You heard that?
Better out than in.
Absolutely.
So, Lauren, it was Candlewick Press. The people at Candlewick Press were the ones that connected Lauren with the book. And at first, like I said, we had a different illustrator for it, and we actually went to some rough sketches. We were sort of in the beginning stages of it. Lauren came in at the last minute, and here's what I know about Lauren, because we were struggling getting the illustrations down. Candlewick Press came to me. What they usually do is they will send me 3 or 4 possibilities for an illustrator, and they will send me the PDFs, and then they'll allow me to choose and rank them. and then they'll sort of choose whichever one they really want and tell me, we know you're going to love this choice. And usually they know more than I do. They've got a lot of designers and they know what works with the text. But what they said about Lauren Tobia is that they've worked with her in the past and they knew she was reliable and she was going to get the job done. And she also always had a very diverse group of people in her illustrations. And that's what we really wanted to be sure, was that there was a diversity to these characters. So Lauren Tobia came highly recommended by Candlewick Press. And I think, is that our last question, Stephanie? I think that may be it. Is Stephanie there?
Yes, that's it. I'm chatting to you. I think you just missed my
Okay.
last message.
Yep,
Sorry,
yep.
didn't want
I
to make
was-
you hear my voice.
Waiting for your voice on that.
Can you work on in a year?
Oh, here's
Yeah,
one.
we just got one more in, but Ginger told you about it. I'll type it in for Lauren.
Okay. So I'll answer it first. How many books can you work on in a year? I have many that are in process all the time. And so I'm writing something right now. I'm working on a novel right now. And as well, there's many other projects that are in the art stage. So I'll be writing multiple things at once. Right now, I'm just working on one novel because the novels are just so much harder. You have to really immerse yourself in those novels. So usually everything stops for the novel. I'd like to hear Lauren's answer to that question. How many books can you work on in a year, Lauren?
Am I in now? Can you hear me now? Oh God, anyway. Okay, yeah. I tend to, well, it depends if anyone commissions me to do anything. I can do nothing in a year, or I can do a couple of books, really. They take a long time because there's a lot of there's a lot of to-ing and froing, and it's a bit like an elephant's gestation period. They do take a very long time. If it's a little black and white books, I do them quite quickly because I don't really do them twice. I just sort of draw it and send it, and it should normally fit in the page, and I know the characters pretty well. Like Anna Hibiscus, I was doing them really quickly because I knew all about Anna's life. I knew what the back of her house looked like. I knew all her pets and animals, and I knew her family. I knew what the street next door was like. I even knew what the city was like. So by the time of the end, I was literally just drawing them freehand and off we go. Whereas something like Violet, you had to get your head round, well, where the Jovian moons for a start. I had to learn about them. And I had to work out how to say the small bits and the big bits at the same time, how to make those work, really. I think the distance and the close was so usually, but right, let's cut to the chase. About 2 a year.
Very good. There's a question. Do you have a song ready to sing along with the text of the book? Usually I have a little song that goes along with each book. And in this case, I do have one that I can offer to you as a way of sort of closing out this little session. It's very short, and it goes like, if I can find a guitar, here's one right now. And I'm sorry that Lauren can't sing along with this, but the basic idea of this little song is that it's called inconsequential. And that's a kind of a long and involved word, but inconsequential means that it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. And the thing is, with this little girl, she matters more than anything else in the whole universe. And so you can look at anything that you see, and you know that somebody probably thinks that that thing you're looking at is probably the center of the universe. So the things that mean nothing to someone else may mean all the world to you. And so this is called inconsequential, and it goes like this. Most things inconsequential go unmentioned in the news, but a ray inconsequential lights a rainbow's many hues. A flame inconsequential lights a firecracker fuse, and a thought inconsequential may become the poet's muse. A breeze inconsequential keeps a bird aloft in flight. A cry inconsequential wakes a mother in the night. A dog inconsequential is a forest for a flea. What's your inconsequential may mean everything to me. And my inconsequential may mean all the world to you. Don't be too blind to see things from another's point of view. Don't be too blind to see things from another's point of view. Thank you, Lauren, for joining us. Everybody give Lauren a big hand. You're a real trooper. And thanks to Malaprops for making this happen. They're awesome. Thank you to my live studio.
Thank you, Allan. Thank you, Lauren. We love you. You're awesome. And thanks everybody for coming, hanging out, for waiting, all the stuff.